What is up, guys? Welcome to another Thursday night live stream on Drums and Drams. Sorry I'm late. I'm a little extra late tonight. I found out my microphone has been acting up. So you guys let me know how it sounds right now. I was doing some quick troubleshooting there before the stream started. For those of you in the Patreon who saw the video that I posted earlier about how barrel pick releases work, like right before the stream started, I went back and watched that video, and the microphone sounded all out of whack. Like the processing that I run it through is supposed to reject a little extra noise if I have it turned on, compress my voice a little bit, and for some reason the noise gate, which is when it lets sound through at a certain threshold and when it doesn't let sound through, it was all out of whack, and it felt like it didn't want to let my voice through unless I was like right up on the microphone talking very loudly. So I turned the processing off before the stream started, but I was trying to troubleshoot it and figure it out. So let me know if it sounds okay to you guys as we get started here. I'll make sure that, yeah, we're running through the correct mic. Okay, sounds like you're late. Sounds good. Yeah, maybe I don't need to do it now, but I can troubleshoot it on my own time. But I've got to get this worked out. I don't know if it's a cable thing or if I've accidentally bumped one of my my knobs on the front of that. So anyways, I hope you guys are doing well. So tonight we've got some fun pours to get into. I'm actually a little late on a few of these, and it's not because I didn't want to taste them. It's that they never showed up in Ohio until like just the other day. So that's going to be, where is the Larceny? There we go. So Larceny A125 is one of the ones I'm talking about, as well as... Is it this one? No, it's going to be this one, which is Elijah Craig A125. So I hadn't tasted these yet, and they just showed up. So I figured we could get into that. Have I already tasted the Cathedral French Oak on a stream? I can't remember if I've already tasted that. Do you guys remember if I've tasted the Cathedral French Oak yet? I know I've tasted the Bombergers, the PFG. May as well look and see if there's a thumbnail with the Cathedral on it. I haven't done a live stream in like a month, so it's hard for me to remember what all I've tasted. Not on stream. All right, so we can taste the Cathedral French Oak tonight too. So we've got a lot of different options. Another one is going to be this Old Forester Bottled in Bond Rye. It's a 9-year rye whiskey from Old Forester, which is super cool. They did a Bottled in Bond bourbon a year or two ago, and it was top 3 of the Old Forester, 117 series releases. I thought the Bottled in Bond bourbon was about as close as you're going to get to that the birthday bourbon kind of profile. So, no French Oak. All right, we'll get into it. That'll be fun. That will be fun. And also, I promise we're going to get back to some videos here on the channel. I promise. We've been doing some, Sarah and I are like about to sign on a house, like building a new house, and it's just been kind of the last couple of days turned from what I thought would be like a little slower pace of getting into this and getting things settled to like run and gun. We're signing on this thing right now. So my day yesterday and today have completely gone off the rails, but in the best way. So we've got everything kind of locked down, and we're just going through the approval process now, but we've got everything spec'd out, and we're really excited for it. Mojo, what's up, dude? I'm glad you got those Heaven Hill samples. I'm curious to hear what you think of them. Never would have guessed Ohio being late on anything. What else we got? Who else we got in here? Thanks, guys, for jumping in. Hit that like button on your way in, please. Let's get a few more folks. I didn't get the thumbnail up till like 90 minutes ago, which is why a lot of alerts have not gone out yet. That usually have to be 2+ hours early on the thumbnail to get those alerts really going out. Impressive line call in the 9 minutes, says Brett. Late is a relative term. So what are we going to start with tonight? Tacos might have done them in. No tacos tonight. No tacos. I knew I'd be in time. Dang, I can't catch a break. It's my own doing, though. Thank you, Mojo. Appreciate it, man. All right, so what are we going to start with? We've also got some 20-year Dickle to taste this evening. George Dickle, that is. So let's go first with, I need to set my palate with something. Let's go to Old Faithful, We're just going to get a Elijah or Eagle Rare pick. Taco time is after 11 p.m., says Mark. You're right about that, man. So, guys, let me know in the chat, like, if you've tried any of the Larceny or Elijah Craig stuff this year. Let me know what you think of it. It's not going to sway my opinion, I promise. But I'm interested to hear everybody's thoughts on this. So, anyways, let me know what you're sipping on tonight. Cheers. Thank you for hanging out. It's going to take a second for my palate to kind of get in the zone tonight. Had a liquid IV too close to the stream, so my palate is still a little bit sugary, you know? I feel like I've seen quite a few people say that they're getting into the Larceny tonight in the chat. Travis getting into it right now. Mojo, I love Eagle Rare, man. It's if I could have any like affordable 90 proof bourbon for the rest of my life, it's either Russell's 10 or Eagle Rare. What's up, Lethal Doug? He says he's live. Let's go. Performance coming soon. Nothing in the works right now. Hopefully, you know, sometime, but haven't thought about a performance in a little while. Also need a good budget-friendly Craig recommendation for celebrating a new dad. You mean just like an Elijah Craig recommendation? Like, what do you mean? Like a certain batch of barrel proof or something? Adam thought the A125 was good, not crazy, just a good barrel proof Kentucky bourbon. A bit bright and fruity, but my Heaven Hill bar has been very much reset. That's very true. Lethal Doug says yes. I mean, what's your budget? You know what I mean? Like, are you willing to go on to secondary and pay up for like a batch from 4 years ago? That's my first question for you. Okay. So let's start not with Elijah Craig or Larceny because those are pretty high proof. Although, I mean, Elijah Craig's actually only 118.2. But we're going to start with the Old Forester, the Bottled and Bond Rye. I think this is an exciting release, and we have a comparison that we can do with this one. Before we talk about that comparison, got a little cork action going here. Before we talk about the comparison, I would rather just taste this, give you some notes on it straight up. I think price on these, I want to say these 117s are now $60 instead of $50. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know at the distillery is where you get them. They have a teeny little bit of distribution to some stores outside of the distillery, just in that area. But anybody that lives close by that knows the price, let me know. 65, says Travis. All right. So again, 100 proof, bottled and bond, but it is stated at 9 years old. I tell you what. All right. Okay, so on the nose, first thing that stands out is like this incredible sweetness on this rye. It's actually getting into like marshmallow territory for me, like marshmallow sweetness, which typically you get on toasted barrels or on like double oak products, depending on where you're getting those from, because often those are really harsh. But Old Forester in particular, like with the 1910 and Woodford with the Woodford double oaked, they're very good at getting those kind of marshmallowy flavors out of those whiskeys. And even though this is not double barreled, I get that same kind of like marshmallowy sweetness. Now, I also get a little sweet, like, almost like sweet lemon lime. Like, I'm somewhere around, like, key lime pie and lemon meringue. Like, there's a little something from both of those in here. It's not super prevalent, but it is interesting to find, like, these lemon lime kind of notes in here. Along that same, you know, kind of pathway, you do get a little Old Forester banana. And I would say that you can tell that it's a rye, but in a super sweet Kentucky rye way. Like, depending on what I taste this next to, I might not even realize that it's a rye. It smells really good. Like, I want to be clear, calling out notes, thinking about it, it smells really, really good. And, I mean, this is probably the oldest, is it the oldest rye that they've ever released? I mean, they do the barrel proof ryes now, which are good. They do the 100 proof rye, which I think is just a great like $25 bottle. And what else? I think that's like it, isn't it? I mean, this smells very good. There's a little scotchiness to it too, a little malty honey thing in here, which you do get on the 100 proof Old Forester rye as well. Is this a high barley content rye? I guess I got to look that up because I should know. Old Forester rye mash bill. Is this 20% barley, really? Wow, 20 barley. There you go. So you get that kind of honey malty thing in here. But wow, it works together so well on the nose. All right. Oh, man. Man, that's so good. Oh, jeez. So, God, the marshmallow note is so freaking good. I love it because it usually takes having a toasted barrel product or a double oak product to get that marshmallow note, but then you also get the negatives of a double oaked product, which is going to be like extra dryness, extra, sharper young oak. This just gives you that sweetness, and that's a very nice quality to this whiskey. Really tastes like Michter's 10 rye. And the rumors are, that Michter's is sourcing some of that stuff from Brown-Forman. That's been the rumor for years. This really, really tastes like Michter's 10 rye. Damn. Now, it's only 100 proof. So the finish on this is like short to medium. It's not a long finish for me. It does linger with a lot of flavor. Like, you get a little bit of a sour, like that sour but sweet lemon lime quality, and you do get a lot of the sweetness hanging on from the marshmallow note. Teeny bit of spice, but not a lot. But it's more of a flavorful finish, which means that because it lacks a lot of spice in the finish, I'm thinking it's a little bit of a shorter one, short to medium at best. But the palate is so good, and it's so sweet, and the profile is delicious. It balances lively notes, which you kind of want from a rye, even an older rye. You kind of want a little bit of liveliness to it because it's just the character of being a rye whiskey. So it still maintains this liveliness, but it feels like it's got some age to it, just in the way that the flavors are kind of developed. They're richer and they're a little deeper and more developed. I mean, this. It's only March, end of March, but this is in the conversation for probably, by the end of the year, it's going to be in the conversation for like top 5, top 10 kind of ryes of the year. Like, I'm sure there's going to be massive 130 proof MGP ryes that come out of single barrels from different NDPs and stuff. And those are a little different style, pretty much complete opposite style of this. But as far as this goes, if people are going to count Michter's 10 rye in the conversation for rye of the year, which they typically do, then this completely should be in that conversation with the Michter's 10 rye. So we will do a comparison right now. I think I have a sample. Yes. Okay, it's hiding here. I've got this sample of a 2023 H barrel, which everybody freaked out about, Michter's 10 rye. So let's do this comparison real quick. Mark, yeah, this is like, I mean, let's see. Let's do the comparison first. And here's the thing. I have to be fully transparent. Michter's 10 rye for me over the last, what would I say? Like, since 2021. So over the last 3 to 4 years, Michter's 10 rye has slid downward a little bit in terms of quality. Like, it's become a little less sweet, a little less rich. So I'm not comparing this to like one of my all-time favorites, which is the 19 F barrels that you got from Michter's 10. Those ryes were insanely good. This is a 2023 H barrel, which people still loved. Keep in mind they're all single barrels. Sam says Breaking Bourbon gave it 5 barrels. Yeah, I mean, maybe their single barrel was God's gift to earth, but none of the other H barrels I've tried have been nearly that good. All right. Frankie, what's up, dude? Sipping on some short barrel double oak rye, so crushable. Marshmallow smoke. It is absolutely marshmallow. And what was the other note? Maple bacon chocolate donuts. Let's see. The man likes his whiskey like he likes his tenors, clean, fresh, and a little complex. Love marching with you back at Derby. Good sir, just popped on to say hello. Who is that? Who is it? Who am I talking to? We're back in the high school days. The VO verse. Who is that? Knee-jerk ranking for the 117. Man, I mean... It's good. Oh, man, it's so good. Like, I'm in, like, 85 to 87 land. Man, maybe it's high. 84 to 86 land. I'm, like, between 84 and 86. I mean, that's really good whiskey. It's not, like, it's not all-time great, and it doesn't deserve a 9. Like, I think if a whiskey for me is going to be in the 90s, I have to take a drink and go, oh, shit. Like, I have to have that very visceral reaction to the whiskey. I don't get that from this. This whiskey just makes me smile when I drink it. And I think for me, like... I know it's a silly way of measuring things, but if a whiskey just makes me smile and makes me happy, you're in the 80s, you know? Like that's my measure. If I taste a whiskey and I go, I'm good, probably in the 70s, you know? It's just like that's to realistically pinpoint place it, I would need to spend a little more time with it, but right now I'd say 84 to 86. I mean, really good. And considering the price point, if this is $65, let's compare it to the Michter's and see how that stacks up, but what's up, Amy? Good to see you. Corey, both A125s I've seen on shelves around central Indiana. I feel like both are starting to fall off. They are. I mean, we're starting to see those things sit. There are cases and cases of Larceny Barrel Proof now sitting at stores in Columbus. That never used to happen, but now Elijah Craig's sitting. It's a different world out there, and I'm hoping that Heaven Hill starts to see that and maybe get the message that they need to up their game. But I don't know. We'll find out tonight how the 125s are. Pete, what's up, dude? Oh, my God. What's up, man? Oh, it's so good to see your name. Oh, dude. Pete. Leader Puis. Guys, this is the... so I played on the quad line of my high school's drum line. And this was the king of the bass line. He played bottom bass. So my freshman year. That's awesome. Man, I love when worlds collide again. Like, you know, recollide, I guess. It's good to see you. My brother-in-law got me hooked on some Elijah Craig small batch. I found the best channel to get recommendations. Dude, you got to send me your address, and I'll send you some of our barrel picks. You got to send me your address. Shoot me like a message on Facebook or something, dude. So I'll totally forget after the stream once you get a little deeper into things, but shoot me a message and I'll send you some stuff. Okay, let's go on to this Michter's 10 rye. Well, there's a reason that's, you know. Oh man, this is a funny comparison. Hey Nick, do you have bottom base, huh? Nick, do you have a Michter's 10 rye that like to compare this to? And if you do, what year is it? I'll find you. Good to see you. Dude, thank you, man. Oh, my gosh. It's so good to see your name pop up. Rich. Okay. So the Michter's 10 smells really close to this Old Forester 100, but it has a toasted barrel element to it. So, Nick, the note that I talked about on the Abraham Bowman, which was the buttered popcorn note, that on that whiskey to me is so strong, I can't even drink it. That note in like really small quantities is, I think, a good note for toasted barrel products. Like the toasted honey rye that we have coming tomorrow has just a teeny bit of that note, but it's very, it's very balanced in check. The Michter's 10 rye, I've never noticed having that note, but when you compare it to the Old Forester clean. It's like got that clean, sweet marshmallow, sweet lemon lime thing. Then the Michter's is a little bit dirtier. It's like dirtier, more toasted oak, but just as sweet. And I still get that marshmallowy lemon lime kind of sweetness on here, but it's just got that more of that heavy toasted oak influence. That's like the only difference for me. It's a little more dense, but softer because it is lower proof. What is it, 94? No, 92.8, I think, on these, right? Yeah, 92.8. All right. Well, delicious. Michter's 10 Rye, delicious. But that proof and being watered down to that point, it doesn't have as much presence as the Old Forester. Shoot, man. I really think this Old Forester is going to be a top rye of the year. I really do. And like, when you think about the price point on secondary for Michter's 10 Rye being around $250, there's not a huge secondary upcharge for it anymore. With the Old Forester going on secondary for like $115 to $125 per bottle, you're in the same price realm. But if you find this at the distillery, and it's not really, seemingly it's not that hard to find these 117s. If you're down in the area, it feels like people are scooping them up pretty easily. This is an absolute buy, immediate buy. Great value, I think, for the quality of whiskey you're getting. If you want barrel proof, you're not going to be happy. But if you're okay sipping 100 proof that is just insanely delicious, and you like that sweeter Kentucky rye profile, you don't mind a little bit of banana, killer whiskey. I love it. Cameron, with a JD 14 and 12-year batches hit that 90 mark for you? I don't know yet. Probably. At least the 14. The 12 maybe as well. I'm gonna rate those in a video though. I don't want to knee-jerk those tonight. But yeah, I would say probably. Once all this house stuff settles out over the next day or two, I'm gonna get the spreadsheet up for Patreon members with all the scorings that I'm going to be doing and keeping track of those. I feel bad I haven't gotten those up yet, but just had to prioritize a few things. And also for Patreon members, the info email for tomorrow's drop. Guys, we're releasing 3 single barrels tomorrow. Toasted Honey Rye, which at 72 or 74 bucks, whatever it is, sick whiskey. And then also this double oaked Watershed for 85, which is wild, a fruit bomb. And then finally this is all I've got left of mine. This is an 8-year, 9-month, 126.1 proof MGP bourbon, and this is killer too. So those are dropping tomorrow in the Patreon. The info email is going to go out after the stream. Dennis, aren't the 117 tier 75s buying the same amount of liquid wouldn't be much less money than the Michter's? Well, the Michter's like retail price now is $180 to $200. So if you bought 2 of the 117s at retail, $65 a piece, you're at $130. I mean, you could get 3 for the, you could get 3 halves as much liquid for the same price. I think it's a great deal. And then secondary upcharge is a little bit more for the 117s, and the Michter's is not that high on secondary, but. Oh, you know what, Bobby? I've got the extra old here. Yeah. Let's taste this real quick. This is the other 117 that's come out this year, January 2025. I wanted to make sure I had all of these for 2025 as far as like, rating whiskeys and stuff goes. So let me clear a glass. Let me taste. This is Extra Old Batch 2. So if you guys remember, they did the 1910 Extra Old, 1910 Extra Old, and now they've done an Extra Old Batch 2. A little confusing. I think this one is 18 months. Yeah. So they extended the finishing period to 18 months. Rich says Michter's 10 Ryes are $230 in Michigan. If you're going to have a state-controlled system, I just feel like the prices shouldn't be higher than SRP. I think it's like, that feels like government robbery to me. They should be set at SRP. It's wild. Just wild. Cameron, this Watershed will be the best Watershed you ever tasted. And I usually don't say that kind of stuff about barrel picks. I think it sounds really narcissistic and cocky. But I'm not a big Watershed person either. And when you drink this whiskey, you're not going to know it's Watershed. You're just going to be like, why is this whiskey so fruity? It's because it's been in a secondary Kelvin barrel for 2 years that was already previously used. So it's not all that heavy spice that you're going to get from the double oak. It's just rich and fruity. Whew. Now that is marshmallows. This 19, this extra old 117. This is a marshmallow monster of a whiskey. Yo, little like artificial sweetness to it, you know. But you know what I should compare this to is the Woodford double oaked. That pathetic excuse for a $200 whiskey. I should probably compare this to that. We're just in it now. We're just going. I was like, I don't think I have enough whiskey to taste tonight. I don't think I'm going to have enough stuff to talk about. And here we go. We've gotten to one thing that I wanted to do tonight, and we're 27 minutes in. So there we go. Mark says, don't do it. All right, that's fine. You know, I'd have to compare that to 1910 to figure out if I think it's worth the upcharge to pick one of these up instead of, you know, you're basically paying the same price for half as much whiskey than a full bottle of 1910. Yeah, I mean, I think if you are a fan of double oaked or 1910 from Brown-Forman, that's solid. You know, you don't need a bunch of it, I don't think. Like, I wouldn't be hoarding those bottles. But we may as well see. We may as well check in with the Woodford double oaked and see what's going on with that. So we'll clear another glass. Adam says, I thought batch 2 XO was a bit better. Yeah, I could get into the weeds on this, but I'll probably save that batch 1 to batch 2 comparison for like a review video as opposed to doing it on a live stream. Nick, and here we go. Hey guys, if you haven't already, please do hit that like button. We get a couple more folks in here hanging out tonight, especially as we get into the Elijah Craig and the Larceny tasting. All right, so let's see. Most disappointing whiskey of the last, I don't know how many years, 2, 3, right here. Woodford double oaked. Oh, he said bitter. Oh, I thought batch 2 was a bit bitter. I got you compared to batch 1. All right. What I was when I just tasted it right now, I didn't think bitter, but I did think it had more spice than I'm used to from one of their double oak products. Typically, I just get only sweet with not a lot of spice, like that chocolatey, marshmallowy, very banana heavy stuff. This one does have like an extra like barrel spice to it. Let's compare it to more disappointing than OGD. Listen, I'm not that disappointed by OGD. I like OGD 16. I'm in the minority for that though. So OGD 16 is not good at $200, but I saw it the other day online for $160, and I was like thinking about buying one. You know, buying a backup because I like that bottle. All right, so Woodford double. It's a great nose. I mean, it's got like this great like blueberry, blackberry kind of preserves or something to it. Like it's got a nice dark berry thing going on with the Woodford. Okay. All right. Yeah, the 1910 Extra Old Batch 2 is much more astringent on the nose. I think the finish just falls off a cliff. I agree with you. I do not disagree. OGD 16 was underwhelming. I just like the flavor profile of it, but all right. So that was a sip of the 19 10 extra old. Okay. Now onto the Woodford Double Double. Yeah, it's darker, it's richer, it's much better nose. And here we go on the worst palate of in history. Here we go. It's so creamy, so soft. Now it's gone. Nothing on the palate. So, you know, I actually think I would pass on the 1910 Extra Old Batch 2. I think it's a little too astringent. Adam said bitter. I would agree with that. This one is kind of underwhelming for me. And then obviously the Woodford Double Double is a hot mess. And do not, if you pay $200 for this, don't do it. Just please don't. All right. Does this Woodford Double Double differ much from the old distillery only? I don't know. So that's a great question. I have not tasted any of the old distillery onlys. Cam, what's the most you'd pay for Michter's 10? If you're talking bourbon, $250 probably. Secondary, they go for more than that, but I think unless you're talking about those old 2023 A barrels, which were insane, I don't really want to pay more than $250 if I can help it. And which is why I don't go out and buy more of them, you know. I did pay $450 for a couple of those A barrels, but it's because they're that good. And then for the rye, I think the most I'd pay for the rye is like $250. But recently the ryes have fallen off, so I'm not seeking them out even at secondary for that cost. I would have to see a newer rye at SRP unless I'm doing it for a review, in which case I'm always willing to spend more money because I can write it off, you know, for the channel. So if that's the case, then I'll pay the $250 for a new batch or something. What's the most you'd offer for just the Old Forester Bottle in the Bond 117 rye? I think you should be able to get them for like $115 shipped. So you're realistically paying like $100 for the bottle. I'd feel fine about that, you know. I was trying to get people down to $115. I ended up paying like, I bought it in a pair with this extra old. I can't remember what I paid. Maybe like $240 for both of them. So it's not a great price, but for the channel and all that kind of stuff, it's fine. Obviously can't write that off because it's secondary, but I was willing to do that. What's up, Brian? Blind before your palate is shot? Yeah, Dan, let's do a blind real quick. Let's do a blind sample. Why not? Tell me which one to pull, man. I think I've got all your new stuff put away back there. And then after the blind, we'll get into some... what are we going to get into after the blind? Why not do, like... Dan, before we do the blind... We're going to do the Heaven Hill 19. I got to go get that sample. It's in the living room. All right. Okay, so I poured a little less than half an ounce. So this is 100 proof, 19-year Heaven Hill wheat whiskey. You've probably seen other people get reviews out of this product. I think some media samples went out to people on that Heaven Hill media list. The nose is pretty freaking good, though. Scott says, I reached for that Woodford Double Double more than I thought I would. I mean, 220 in Montana hurts a little. Just can't seem to love most of the Old Forester. Scott, I'm not a real big Old Forester person just in general. I love Cooper's Craft 100. That was always my go-to over Old Forester 100, over 1910, 1920. I would always drink Cooper's Craft 100. but I know that's not distributed everywhere. Old Forester to me always feels a little too yeasty, a little too banana forward, and so it's a tough sell. But the Woodford Double Double, in its current state, with the palate the way it is, being like falling off a cliff, it should be proofed at like 100 or so, maybe 105, but it's at 90.4. The current state that the whiskey's in, I think it's worth like $70, you know. I think if the proof was up or they blended it better and they fixed the finish, then I'd say it's a $100 bottle. But I just because it's like the LE and it's fancy and it's hard to find, I don't think that's a reason that we should all pay $200 unless you legitimately love the whiskey. If you love the whiskey, you pay whatever you want for it. I'm with you. I make stupid whiskey purchases for things that only I like that everyone else hates, like OGD 16, you know, stuff like that. But I would say they had opportunities to fix this Woodford Double Double, I would think, and they probably did not take them. Whether that's a financial decision or not, I don't know. You know, this Heaven Hill Wheat Whiskey 19 year, the nose is pretty cool. It has this like this brown butter thing. Yeah. We're almost in root beer territory, but not quite. It's this brown buttery, like soft. It has the softness of like certain Pappy products, if you've ever smelled those, like because of the wheat, and this being a wheat whiskey, not a wheated bourbon, there's a real nice softness to the nose. There's almost like a George Dickle quality, and I don't mean the mineral quality. I mean every other aspect of the George Dickle profile when it's really highly aged, which are good aspects of the profile. This has some of those, minus the minerality. And then a really like fresh, just super fresh and ripe cherry note. I dig it. I dig the nose of this. It smells old. It smells like expensive whiskey, you know? All right. It is kind of thin. Shit, it's good though. It's buttery. It's got this like super soft wheater. I mean, it drinks like an Old Fitz. It drinks like Old Fitz 15 and 17. It has that like buttery softness. Shoot, I like this whiskey. Crap. I wanted to hate on this for 100 proof because I heard that they tried it at different proof points, and I always wish they would leave them at these higher proofs. This is really good. Is it $300 good? I don't know. But I could put a hurtin' on a bottle of this. Gosh, Brian says it's crushable. It really is, dude. What did you think of this, Brian? It just kind of does everything that I want a soft, old, wheated whiskey, whether it's wheated bourbon or wheat whiskey, does everything that I want one of those to do, just at 100 proof. Now, there are going to be plenty of people that try this that are underwhelmed and disappointed and say they think 300 is absurd for it. I completely get it. But I'm kind of going through a phase right now where I'm really enjoying lower proof stuff. I just can't sit and drink 130 proof whiskey all the time. And this just hits all the right spots. Now, the second sip, it really does start to fall off. I get more of like instead of the rich creaminess, I'm starting to be able to pick it apart more, and I can pick up on a pepperiness, like a distinct black pepper note. So I feel like I've like combed through the layers of sweetness, and now I've found like this pepper note where I'm like, and it's kind of more crushable. So it doesn't hold up after a first sip. Yeah. So you got to know that going in. Let's do it. Let's do the comparison. Hang on. These are going to be two different animals, but I think it's worthwhile. Okay. So let's put this next to the Old Granddad 16 year, speaking of that, because that is also at 100 proof. It's 3 years younger, but it is a high rye mash bill instead of a wheat whiskey. So we have very big swings here in the mash bill percentages. However, the same complaint could apply to both, that they both feel underwhelming in the finish and they both feel overpriced. So I want to see how these stack up, because if there's enough of a similarity here, there are so many people that think that OGD is overpriced at 200 that those people would then really say that the Heaven Hill 19 is something that they don't want to hunt down for 300, which is what it is at the distillery, maybe even 350. It's one of those two. So Heaven Hill 19. Okay. And OGD. Okay, so okay, the Heaven Hill Nose is better for me because it has more sweetness and more just like richness and sweetness. I don't want to say depth, because neither of these are super deep, but we get that. The OGD is more creamsicle. It's a little bit more citrusy. You can sense more rye spice in there because it is a high rye mash. They both feel almost equally soft. All right, let's go to the Heaven Hill one more time. After taking a quick break, palate resets, take a sip of that. It's great. First sip is great. All right. Now on to the OGD. Now I can really smell the citrus in the OGD. The OGD falls off a cliff more in the finish. So it is way spicier up front because of the mash bill. And it does ramp up, and then it goes, and it falls completely off. The Heaven Hill is just like a super soft ramp up, and then it just kind of softly goes away. But it actually might have a longer finish as far as flavor goes, because the flavors are lingering longer in the Heaven Hill. Whereas with the OGD, the flavors really go away, and you're kind of left with just some spice on the palate. But if you were underwhelmed by the Old Granddad, you are probably going to be equally underwhelmed by the Heaven Hill, even though you're going to be maybe enamored by the aged notes and the incredible sweetness of the Heaven Hill on your first sip. After your first sip, you're probably going to have the same complaint you had about the Old Granddad. So if that's you, then you probably don't need to hunt the Heaven Hill. There you go, Brian. But for a wheat whiskey, very impressive. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I would probably buy a bottle of that at SRP, just knowing that I spend too much money on whiskey as it is. And because it's a totally different thing, I'd probably end up buying one. The collector in me would want that bottle. No chance I'm paying anything over SRP for that Heaven Hill. Oh, fuck. Did I just pour the wrong one back? Sorry, pardon my French. No, I'm good. Oh, God. I thought I poured the Old Grandad in the Heaven Hill sample. Sorry. Isn't Parker's this year a wheat whiskey? It's some kind of blend, I think, of different things, maybe. All right, so we've gotten through the Old Forester and the Heaven Hill and a couple of other things along the way. Let me move some things onto the floor. Get these out of here. What's up, Mark Vasco? Not many high-age wheat whiskeys out there for that reason. I'm glad I have one. It's a nice whiskey to share. Yeah. I agree. Like, if you're used to spending that kind of money on whiskey, I see no problem picking one of those up. Oh, I said blind next. Let's do it, Dennis. So, Pink Dan, what did you say about which one to take for the blind? $27 or $30. All right, let me grab one of those. All right, Pink Dan. Let's see what you got here. So, guys, I'm going to do it like I normally do. Pink Dan has given me this card, so I'll show you what is in the... Yeah, I think it should be a card that I can show you. Yep. All right. Pink Dan, number 30 blind. Got a little tape action here. Let's go down, see where we're at. All right, so this is number 30, Dan. Haven't done a blind in a while. I've got a bunch of blind samples I got to get to. Just a reminder, I'm going to show you guys what's in this glass. Please don't post any spoilers in the chat. All right, so let's get the camera to focus. And I think if I hold it up and I open this up, it should show you what I've got. So please, no spoilers. Here we go. So just take a look at this. 5. And let me know if it doesn't focus. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we'll put this just kind of off to the side. Let's see what we got. Okay. All right, this is weird. This has got like a brandy note going on. Like it's a little Armagnac-y or something in here. It's got like an artificial sweetness to it, and it's brandy and Armagnac-y. Sour, weird fruit notes, like grapefruit maybe. It's a lot of bright, citrusy, kind of weird sour fruit notes. Your camera. Yeah, listen, my cameras are really old and they've been having a hard time recently. I'm going to upgrade my camera. As soon as we get the loan approval for this house, I'm going to buy new cameras. But I didn't want to throw 6 G's on my credit card anytime soon until the approval is done. You know what this smells like? There's like a corniness to it too. Like just like I'm smelling corn. It reminds me of the Bacta, the one that someone said smells like a diaper, and I think it's a blend of rye and Armagnac. And I don't remember what the name of the whiskey is, but 1923. But that sounds like a crazy old whiskey. I don't know, but it's got like I think it's like the blue bottle of Bacta. This smells like that, but not entirely. I'd be surprised. Dude, this is weird. This is a weird whiskey. No, I'm not going red. I'm just going to go A7S3. I've got A7S2s right now, but I bought them used, and they were both like pretty heavily used at that point. So the autofocus, I feel like, has gotten much worse over the years. Yeah, someone said that the whiskey that I'm reminded of, that I had never said that it had a diaper note on, they said, oh, it's kind of got this like baby powder diaper note to it. And I was like, shoot, I can't unsmell that. All right. Not the biggest fan of that. It's got like it's very artificial fruity on the palate to me. It tastes like I have like some sort of, I'm not saying it tastes like flavored whiskey, but it just, all those brandy notes don't feel deep and rich and natural to me. They feel odd and artificial. It almost has a little bit of that walnut skin, like bitter Rancio thing. Not a really old Armagnac Rancio, but I feel like I'm in this brandy world, and I don't know if I'm really far off base here. Proof feels low. 104 maybe. Feels like it's got decent age to it. Like, I can't get it out of my mind that this is the Bacta, so I'm going to say that's that blend of rye and well, I said I got a corniness to it, though. But it does have this rye spice character. They did an Armagnac finished bourbon, or a blend of Armagnac and bourbon or something, and they also did the blend of yak and rye. It's something like that. But the proof is low. But the spice is high. Even though I got corn. Oh! I gotta make some decisions. Pink Dan. All right, I'll remind you guys one more time what this is, okay? I'll turn my head. There you go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. There's a little Play-Doh-y thing in there too. Ah. Almost has a little element of this Altschuler. I got to go with my gut. I'm going to say this is a blend of Armagnac and I'm going to say it's that blend of Armagnac and rye. It could be the Armagnac and bourbon. I'm going to say it's 105 proof. I'm going to say it's 8 years old. Bacta. Oh, shit. Come on now. Come on. 60% 2018 rye. So what? How old is that? Depends on when this was bottled. 6 or 7 years old. 30% Calvados. That's where that skunky fruit note comes from that I'm not getting into here. And then 10% is a blend of like a bunch of different Armagnac vintages. 100 proof. I said 105. Age. I was close. I said 8. It's like 6 or 7. Listen, Pink Dan, I still got it, dude. I'll take that, man. Okay. I don't love that whiskey or that blend. I guess it's not whiskey. I don't love it. The first time I had it, I liked it a lot more than I've now tasted it 2 other times. And every time I've tasted it, I'm like, I like it less now. So, dude, let's do another blind, Dan. Can we do it the other one? Listen, I'm cooking right now. Let me fall on my face. Let's do one more blind. What was the other one you said? 27? All right, bro. All right. So now we got number 27. Definitely need a fresh glass for this one. 1, 2. I guess I've used all of these glass. No. Yep. Swish with water, for the love of God. Pink Dan, you that is a tricky, dude, that's a tricky pour. Like, you throw that into a blind competition, as long as it's not like whiskey only and you can't do stuff like that, that's going to throw everybody off. I mean, the only reason I feel like I kind of had an idea of what it could be is because I've tasted that exact bottle before. By the way, what was the date on that? It was okay. It is, so it is a young, or like an old date. It's called 1928. So I was thinking that it was like a really old date, but it's not like it was 100-year-old whiskey, you know. All right, so number 27. I think if I've never had that bottle, I would still say that it has these brandy notes to it, but I wouldn't know I wouldn't know to guess that it's a blend, because I never thought about blending brandy and whiskey until that bottle from Bacta came out. And now I'm like, all right, well, if that's going to be a thing... Oh, this is dark. It's nice and dark. This is interesting. I don't need the palate cleanse right now. I think I'm good, actually. What the heck is this, dude? It was kind of traditional up front, and I was thinking, oh, maybe it's some sort of Canadian whiskey that's been finished. Like, my first impression was Canadian whiskey that's been put into a lot of different barrels, because it had like this nondescript quality to the whiskey that felt like it had a layer on top where you've pasted the flavors on through some sort of finishing. Now, the more I smell it, I'm smelling Armagnac again. I'm smelling some sort of, but not as, like, this smells much better than the last one. I should show you guys what this is. I actually really like the smell of this, whatever it is. All right. So, Amy, I'll get to that in just a second. So, here you go, guys. Let me know if this is in focus, and I think it's straight up and down. It smells good. It's soft. I think that's why I'm like... This smells much more like old Armagnac. Ooh, it tastes good. But still has this weird spice. More Armagnac-y. I mean, this might just be an Armagnac, but there's a quality in it, a teeny quality of spice that doesn't feel like Armagnac to me. I don't know. I could... Because I know that there's a new company called, like, Hogsworth that's doing and I think it's actually Raj, the guy that... I think that's his name, that owned Bacta. I think he's got this new thing, Hogsworth, where he's blending Armagnac and bourbon there. I wonder if that's what this is. Or else it's just an Armagnac or some kind of brandy. This is very soft on the palate. This is like 95 proof. 95 to 98 proof. Could even be lower. I think this is very good. I like this a lot. I would drink a lot of this. I'm getting great, like, dark chocolate now from it. Maybe more milk chocolate. And that beautiful, like, grapey, syrupy thing you get from Armagnac. There's one spice note in here that reminds me of bourbon, not rye. All right, I think I'm going to say that this is just an Armagnac. All right, I got two guesses. The one I'm going to commit to is that this is an 18-year Armagnac at 96% or 96 proof. I said 18-year, 96 proof. My secondary guess is that it's that Hogsworth, and I don't know the stats on that, but I would say that that's like, again, probably like 8 years old with the bourbon component in it, because I think it's a blend, and I think that's probably around 95 proof. Let's see what it is. There we go. 32 years old. Holy crap. So it is just an Armagnac. So, okay. I went with my gut. I said it was just an Armagnac. 32. Armagnac is really hard to date. Delicious, man. Delicious. I love this stuff. The first impression was weird because I think coming off of what I was having previous, and I had that like weird moment of like, is this a finished Canadian whiskey? And then immediately it was just all Armagnac. 101 proof, so I was a little low on the proof. It did drink super similar to the last one, but the last one had that rye component to it, and that rye added spice. And I think that's why I guessed over proof on that, and then I based my guess here on those aspects. So I was a little low on proof, but I did guess Armagnac, way off on the age, but the proof, delicious, dude. Thank you for sharing that, Dan. Delicious. All right, let's move on. I'm going to pour that back. It's Chateau de la Baude, which special place in my heart because of the Chateau de la Baude Bardstown collaboration that they did. The first one only. The second one was not good. Nice. Very fun. Thank you, Dan. That is a lot of fun, man. Okay, we got some fresh glasses here. What should we get into next? Elijah Craig and Larceny, we definitely have to do. And the Cathedral French Oak. But I think we should wait on the Cathedral French Oak because that extra oak is going to not play well before having the Larceny and the Elijah Craig, which are younger whiskeys. So let's do the Larceny next. Actually, let's just put the Larceny and Elijah Craig side by side. The table's getting a little hectic. Oh. I need the, here we go. I need the A125. Okay, we got 142 people in here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Just a quick plug, if you don't mind. Number one, I'm going to ask you to please hit the like button again. And if you're not subscribed, whether you're watching this live or on the replay, I would love it if you consider subscribing to the channel. It's one of the best ways to do it, to support the channel, and it's free. But also, if you're interested in whether it's barrel picks, because we're dropping about 3 barrels on average per month, between 3 and 4 barrels per month, and also just being a part of a great whiskey community. And I know everybody says that, we're building community, and we all try to do that, but I really do believe that we have a great community over in our Discord. So if you sign up for the Patreon, $5 or $10 a month, and you create a Discord account, whether you already have one, you can link it to Patreon. But if you don't have one, create a Discord account. It's like this instant messaging app, but it's really great for this because you can go to different chat rooms basically within our server with different topics, and everybody's hanging out in there, busting each other's balls, but also having a lot of fun and writing reviews and talking about what's on the market, and just a lot of interaction. So a lot of the guys in the chat are in the Patreon. I'm sure a lot of them can speak to their experience there as well. But if you would consider subscribing to the Patreon, we're growing incredibly fast and consistently over there. It's a lot of fun, and it enables us to continue to do really cool stuff as far as barrel picks and otherwise. And so Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging tonight. Let's keep going. Thank you, Amy, for throwing that in the chat. What's up, Junior? Man, that Larceny does not smell good. And the Elijah Craig does smell good. So this is kind of it's kind of what I expect, you know, every time. The Discord is a silly place where we weaponize Brett's name. Are you going to get a buff turkey pick? Well, we've already gotten 2, and we have 2 more that are going to be dropping in about a month. And those are probably going to be all that we do. But yeah, in total, we will have done probably like 325 bottles of buff turkey when it's all said and done. So yeah, we've definitely been on that train, Eric. It's hard to find great buff turkey. It's super overrated whiskey. I think like you gotta be able to go through a lot of barrels and find these things, but I'm very happy with the ones that we found, and I don't feel like we need any more after we drop these next 2. But I will show you real quick for anybody interested. I don't want to put my loan borrower application information on the screen, but here we go. This is what I'll throw up here. Just for anybody like thinking about the Patreon, this is a cool resource that we have. I know, shameless plug, I apologize. But check this out. It's the barrel pick tracker. And so in this, you get like these links up top where you can read about like, you know, the financial aspect of barrel picks. I'm 100% transparent about, you know, the money that I make on this. Free shipping, like different frequently asked questions going on up here. I always have it listed when it's last updated, and then you can kind of see here, these are picks that I've already done, but we haven't released yet, like they're in the queue. And you can see that we've got, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have 15 barrels picked and in the queue right now, which is crazy. 5 of those are River Roots. These 2 Augustas, we were just talking about buff turkey. Those are coming out late April. $3.20 a bottle. Great proof points. You get the barrel yields, the pick team, and then the tasting notes are always over here in the right column once I'm done writing them. So then down here you can see the completed picks that we've done. And that's all the picks that we've done so far. And then confirmed upcoming picks. We're going back to Still Awesome. We've got Ever North possible, and then some other things possible here at the bottom. So it's just a great resource for people in the Patreon to kind of keep track of what's going on. All right. So now we've got great time in the glass, some air into the Larceny and Elijah Craig. I'm just torn on this Larceny. I got to compare it to C922 to get my bearings, because I've only liked a few batches of Larceny Barrel Proof. My favorite is C922, and I need to just put it next to it, even just on the nose, to get my bearings and see if I'm crazy, and maybe I'm just falling out of love with any Larceny Barrel Proof right now. All right. Cam, what's your top Larceny batches over the past few years? C922 favorite, C923 second favorite. Those are really the only ones I like. And then B523 was good. But 2 of them that I thought were like actually decent and had a nice fruit note to them, which is kind of uncommon with Larceny Barrel Proof. A122 and B522 I thought were kind of overlooked, but had a decent profile as far as Larceny Barrel Proof goes. All right, a little rinse with the whiskey since it had something else in it before. I need a DD3 follow-up. Those barrels are long gone, man. But I mean, we can maybe try to construct something in the same realm, but it would take a long time. It would take years to get to that point. I don't know what the junkies have up there as far as like wave staves and stuff. What's up, Slad? Oh, dude. Listen, I'll do my down payment with an Oakley. I don't have any problem with that. So here's the deal. I'm smelling C922 right now, Larceny. Awesome. Now I'm smelling A125. Not awesome. It's super grassy and yeah, it's just that sawdusty, grassy, like sour green apple peel note. Green apple skin, yeah. Oh. Ooh, that is not it. Now, some people don't mind that grassy profile, and they want a really spicy whiskey, and it's crazy to me that Larceny's are so spicy because they're wheated bourbon. That has such a grassiness and a it's just, I've said it before, it's like you sprinkled sugar on fresh cut grass, and then, you know, just added a bunch of cinnamon to it. I don't like that. I think that's a total easy pass for me. And anybody in the chat that's drinking this right now and that disagrees, please let me know, because I'm curious. Like, I'm curious what you normally like, as far as like things that we might just fundamentally disagree on. Certain things that we like is what I'm trying to say. So I'd love to hear from anybody that's actually enjoying this batch. To me, that is like the antithesis of the profile that I like. That's a tough one. Now let's go C922. This is like dark, and it's got that like dark buttery thing to it and a dark fruit note. Still has a lot of spice, but there's zero grassiness here. And it's rich, and it's dark and sweet and mapley. Yeah, C922 all the way. I love that batch. I don't feel like I'm crazy. Like, A125 to me is just not great. That whiskey to me is in like the 60s. Like, that's like a 68 out of 100 kind of score. I mean, I'm not into it. No, I didn't find a grassy note on Millennium. It's not Millennium. I'm pretty sure I called the grassy note on Double Eagle. And a little bit on OFC, but not really that bad. But Double Eagle is like undrinkable to me because of that grassy note. I just don't like it. A lot of high-aged Buffalo Trace products get grassy. I don't know why. Guys, this is my recommendation for anybody, because Larceny Barrel Proof carries zero secondary value. If you're looking for Larceny Barrel Proofs that are good, just go buy yourself a bottle of C923 and C922. And that is all the Larceny Barrel Proof that you ever need. Actually, you know what I want to do? I forgot I had this. There's a sample that Guy sent me. I thought I put it on the table somewhere. Crap, where did that go? Shoot, I had a couple different things I needed. Okay, Saz 18. We're gonna taste the Saz 18. There it is. There it is. So one thing I wanted to do tonight was check out a barrel pick of Larceny Barrel Proof, 6 years old. Excuse me, 126.8 proof, which is basically the same proof as these. I just want to see how this stacks up to these other Larceny Barrel Proofs. So I have my favorite, and then I have one that I think is really not good, and now I have this barrel pick. And let's see how these kind of all compare side by side. This is obviously one moment in time, one single barrel, but maybe it's a data point that we can try to extrapolate from looking at other barrel picks. Rizzle D, how does it compare to the C924? I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't think I reviewed Larceny C924. I think I tasted it on a live stream one time, and I don't think I ever put a video out for it. So I don't know. Travis saw C922 tonight for $60. I would buy that in a heartbeat off the shelf. I get a lot of nuttiness from LBPs other than the C923. I bought 3 backups because it was a banger. That was a super sweet. It just tasted like it had a stick of butter melted in the whiskey. It was such a buttery pour. And a lot of people, I think, liked it because it had the sweetness that you want from a wheated bourbon. Oh, wow. Terry has a 9-year Larceny barrel prick. Barrel prick. Wow. All right. Barrel pick. Caramel bomb, he says. That's a great age. I mean, this one is 6 years old, so I'll say this. The barrel pick smells way better to me than A125. It's darker, even though it's younger. Probably younger. Yeah. There's nothing special about this barrel pick. But it's solid. Like 73 kind of whiskey. You know, it's very average. And it definitely beats A125. It definitely beats A125. That is unpleasant to drink. Okay. So there you go. Take from that what you will. But I think if you're looking for... If you're a fan of Larceny Barrel Proof just generally, then I think you should not hesitate to pull the trigger on a barrel pick that you find. Because I think this barrel pick at 6 years old, which is probably as young as they're going to be, beats this batch handily. And that's reassuring to me. And if you like this batch, then you're going to like probably most barrel picks that you're going to find. If you're really picky about Larceny Barrel Proof, I would say hold off on buying the barrel picks because this still isn't at a point that I want to buy this bottle. I would still just want to go get a C922 from somebody on secondary for essentially no upcharge. What's up, Walker? C924 is my favorite, and I don't enjoy almost any Larceny batches. Insane value for 60. I got to revisit C924 then. I can't remember anything about it. Let's do this. Yeah, let's compare C924 to A125. Let's do that. There we go, Frankie. Those are my picks. But I just think Larceny Barrel Proof is kind of a divisive product, like for everybody. I do remember C924. I lied. I definitely remember C924 now. It was the first one with the new label. All right, give it a little rinse. Right. This is the one that to me is very Bookersy. It's like it has the spice of a Barton KOA barrel, which is cool. And it's got a little Bookersy because it's nutty and it's like kind of harsher cinnamon, harsher brown sugar to me. But it reminds me of Barton KOA barrels from Rare Character, which that's not specific to them. Other people get those 75-21-4 mash bill barrels from Barton at high proofs, but people know them from those KOA barrels. But this kind of has an element of that in the spice. So already on the nose, yeah, it spanks the A125. But for me, this is the one that gets dry, like really dry in the finish. It really sucks the moisture out of your palate. And I think it's a little bit unpleasant in the finish from a drinking experience perspective. But the notes are good if you want this like heavy cinnamon stick profile and that kind of aggressiveness to it. But it does have enough sweetness to kind of back it up. So I could see people making a case for C924 for sure. And if you like those high proof like 7521 4 barrels, I think this is kind of up your alley. Walker said cinnamon, honey bun. I agree. Grassy and buttery. I actually don't get as much grassiness on this one. I could see a little bit, but in comparison to the A125, which is a grassy mess. Yeah. It makes C924 feel like it has zero grassiness. Travis, I don't remember the mash bill on that one. And it was not from the same producer, I don't think. I think it was from a different company, but we never really got clarification on where that was sourced from. So Larceny's taken care of. Let's check out the Elijah Craig A125 now. Justin gets a lot of sweetness on his. Which one are you talking about, Justin? The C924 Larceny? Yeah, Jason, I think C924 is fine for the price point. I just wish that finish, I wish they would have blended to make that finish a little less dry. C924. Yeah, no, I think there is some sweetness to back it up. I do. But it's so counterbalanced by that intense cinnamon. All right, now let's get on to A125 Elijah Craig. Now this is 118.2 proof, which is 59.1% ABV. 10 years, 7 months. All right, so I'm coming off something that's a little higher proof. I'm going to just get this on my palate so I can kind of, you know, revert back down to this lower proof. All right. Okay, so this is interesting. CJ likes C923 Larceny. I don't disagree. Like, I very much understand why that has the mass appeal that it does. I just, for me, subjectively, that darker profile of the C922, I think is so good. But if you want that sweeter, wheated bourbon profile that you should probably expect from Larceny, then C923 is like the epitome of that, in my opinion. Okay, so I really like the nose on this Elijah Craig. And I did bring A124 upstairs from the dungeon, the basement dungeon where I leave bottles to die. I brought A124 back up, which I think is the worst Elijah Craig that they've ever released, because I thought it'd be a cool comparison. Both of them are, yeah, very low proof and within 2 months of each other. So they're young, they're low proof as far as, you know, Elijah Craig barrel proof goes. But A125 is like really well balanced, and you're going to expect that with 118.2, but there's absolutely nothing that stands out about this whiskey. It's classic, like sweet pastry, bakery, Heaven Hill, like some nuttiness in here. It's got like this little accent of cherry in the whiskey. There's kind of a chocolatey quality too. It's very balanced. It feels like you took I'm trying to think of a product, like maybe a McKenna. You know, it feels like you took a McKenna profile and you just increased the intensity of it. And you just get a little bit more of every single note in one of those McKenna single barrels, and a good one. Like, this doesn't smell like a bad McKenna single barrel, which those are abundant, I think, on the shelves. I really like the nose on this. I think it's extremely balanced. Does this smell anything like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof should smell, in my opinion, after having tried every single batch back to 2017 and probably most of the Pirate bottles too? No, this smells nothing like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. It smells like if Heaven Hill sold barrels off to a non-distilling producer, and that non-distilling producer bottled a single barrel that just had a low barrel proof, which we have one of those on the way, actually, from a certain place, 11.5 year, 105 proof. This is not a plug for that. It's just to say that this reminds me of that profile, kind of dialed up, actually. This is not at all what I think of as Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, but it smells really good. So I think I'm going to say the same thing I said about the one on the nose here, is that I don't think that this belongs under the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof label. I think this belongs under a different label, and they should leave Elijah Craig Barrel Proof at these higher proofs and 12 years old, if I'm being honest. I'd love to see them just go back to that. This feels like a separate product. Like, if you just had a product called Heaven Hill Barrel Proof and it was this, I'd be very happy with that. I think it smells great. I really do. And I really like the palate. But it's not Elijah Craig Barrel Proof in any way. So this is interesting. I got to put it next to A124. Like, if I don't want to drink 125 to 135 proof whiskey, but I still want high proof, intense Heaven Hill, I'm just going to drink this batch. Like, there's nothing wrong with this whiskey. And I hope that this proves me right to myself that A124 should smell like a grassy mess compared to it. Yep. Nope, not it. Right up front, the grassiness. God, it's so grassy. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I just don't like that. Now let's go back to A125, even though it's even lower proof. Let's go back to this. The nose is so much darker and richer. Yeah. Easy win. I like A125. I would buy this. Just buy it and don't expect to feel like you're drinking an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Buy it and feel like you're drinking a different Heaven Hill product entirely that has been accidentally bottled under this label. That's the way I would look at it. I think the price of $70 is totally right. I don't think I would complain at all about the price of this. So yeah, that's a recommend for me if you know what to expect and you set your expectations correctly. What do you guys think? Is that crazy? Yeah, I think, Travis, man, I really think this is an opportunity where, I mean, listen, what is Heaven Hill trying to do with their portfolio right now? They're trying to really blow it out and stratify it, as everybody is, because premium whiskey is selling. Like, that's still a growing category, and it's probably why Beam is releasing 1,000 LEs every year. But if you took Elijah Craig Barrel Proof and stopped giving us this 10-year age-stated stuff, go back up to 12. Go back to, make it variable age statement and make the minimum age statement 12 years old. I know that hurts their premium models of putting select stock out at 14 and whatever. I don't care. They got a lot of aged whiskey. Get Heaven Hill, get Elijah Craig Barrel Proof back up to like a 12 minimum, but make it flexible still and go for different profiles And then do us a favor as a consumer and tell us what profile you went for with the given release, or at least the floors they came from, or just anything. And then give us a product at 50 bucks or 55 bucks that's called Heaven Hill Barrel Proof or Foolproof, like you're saying, Travis, which maybe makes it easier for them to, well, depends if they could get to that foolproof every time, you know. But give us a Heaven Hill Barrel Proof at 55 bucks. I don't know if that hurts or helps him or whatever, but this is good. It just isn't Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. But I also understand why, if other reviewers are getting this bottle and saying it's just like mediocre and it's fine, I would say the same thing too, especially if in my mind I was judging this as an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, which it is, I know, but I feel like I need to move past that, or else I'm going to endlessly complain now about any Elijah Craig Barrel Proof that comes out under 11 years old and under 120 proof. And that means I'm going to be complaining at least once a year, maybe even twice a year at this point. And I'd rather not do that. So Frankie says they're doing Heaven Hill bottled and bond picks now, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Do McKenna picks. Like, all these picks, it's just to sell more barrels, you know, and more young whiskey, cash in on it. But they have flooded the market with a bunch of mediocre whiskey that seemingly is taking away from their batch products. Cameron, what's your thoughts on Rio and Havana? I have not tried Havana. Rio is just like I'm not a big fan, but Amburana I don't like. I think Rio is just, that's not my thing. Havana's probably much of this, more of the same, but maybe not. Okay, Matt, have you tried A125, dude? Where are you at? Good to see you, bro. Have you tried A125, Elijah Craig? So let me put it this way: if this barrel if you had a single barrel of Elijah Craig that tasted exactly like A125, that was sold by Heaven Hill and went to a broker, and then they sold it to, let's say, River Roots, and River Roots bottled it and sold it, people would buy this as a 10-year, 7-month, 118.2 proof Heaven Hill barrel. They'd buy it for $100 a bottle, and they would freak out and say it's amazing because it's a singular it's a totally different thing than you normally get from Heaven Hill. That would be the attitude at $100 to $120 a bottle. Whereas if you put it under this Elijah Craig label, there's so much expectation wrapped up in what this is, even $30 to $50 cheaper, that people are going to complain. And that's why I think this doesn't make sense under this label. I'd rather see this profile coming out of an NDP or coming from a completely new line from Heaven Hill that justifies what this profile and what this proof point and what this age is. What's up, Maury? Thanks, Cam. I think I'll grab an A125, give it a go. Sounds like it's worth a try. I think it's good. I will drink the shit out of this bottle and probably buy a backup as a Heaven Hill option that's not going to rip my face off. What next? Let's do something crazy. Let's do something crazy. Yeah. I think this is the right time to do this. Hour and 30 in. We're doing good. Let's do Sazerac 18, 2024. I've got 3 ounces of this. So this is one of the 3. I'm going to make a video on this, and I'm going to wrap up. I've got videos filmed now for all of the BTAC from 2024. I've already put a couple of them out, but not the rest. So let's try Saz 18. Let's just pour it all. Why not? I bought these samples on secondary from somebody, a trusted person. Yeah, it's definitely Saz 18. Okay. No, Terry. So it's funny you say that. So, guys, we have an 11-year barrel coming from River Roots that is sourced from a place that's maybe called Schmev and Schmill. And it's like 105 proof is the barrel proof. It's really low. Terry, I actually put the A125 Elijah Craig up against that barrel, and our barrel, I like our barrel better. So I'm happy about that because I was like, oh man, if I put it up against A125 and it's $50 cheaper, at SRP, that's not going to be good. It's not going to, because I'm not going to lie to people. But I put it up next to them, and A125 is much more like ours is lower proof at 105 instead of 118, but it's so sweet and rich and just full of flavor, even at that proof point. And I can't think of another whiskey that drinks like that lot of barrels that have been out on the market. I just think those barrels have a particular thing to them that is so unique. But the A125, I proofed it down to try to get it close to proof, and it didn't have it. It was more spicy, and when you lower the proof on A125, it doesn't do very well. Whereas our barrel, I felt like, has such a unique sweetness to it that I think it's going to be worth the price point for sure. Brett, what's up, dude? Just poured a Middle West Pumpernickel Ported. Such a good dessert pour. Dude, Middle West, we got to go back to Middle West and do another thing with them. I don't think it's mixed signals, Terry. I don't think it's... And I'm not just defending it because it's our pick. I'm actually curious. Like, what did I say that was mixed signals? I'm curious. Because I think that... Yeah, I don't know what I said that would be mixed signals on that. Rich, it better be if you want them cam tokens to keep building up. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the Heaven Hill pick at all. I've shared that with some people now that have tasted it, and everybody's been like, this is awesome. So I think those barrels are really cool. All right, so on to Saz 18 2024. It reminds me a lot of Michter's 10 Rye, but not with... The Michter's 10 Rye has more of that toasted oak element to it, and has kind of a lighter sweetness, like more marshmallow sweet and more of that sweet lemon lime we talked about earlier in the stream. The Saz 18 is a little more, like a little darker. It's a little more of a like... Oh, what's the freaking fruit that this smells like? I don't know. Oh, it's like, this is like a very blackberry syrup kind of thing going on here. But there's a specific fruit that I can't think of. But let's just go with like blackberry syrup with a little bit of that sweet herbal rye note that you get from Kentucky ryes. Definitely smells watery and kind of lower proof. I don't hate this, actually. Like, I thought the Saz 18 would be completely underwhelming on the nose. It smells very good. Doesn't smell like a product that's going to go for $1,000 on secondary. But I think it smells good, It smells like a $250 whiskey to me on the nose, which is kind of where I would put Michter's 10 Rye. Maybe Currants is where I'm thinking. Prune, maybe. Maybe a little like of this black currant thing. Oh, just what Heaven Hill should do with the juice, like in the A125. Yeah, like totally. I think it should go into it should either be sold off as something else or produced in a different line. I really like this whiskey at $250. It's a shame this is so much on secondary, because it's a for the proof point and for the style, it's this like really rich and oaky kind of blackberry, blackcurrant, syrupy rye. There's no fireworks. It just coasts on the palate. It's got a nice like soft mouthfeel to it. It's only 90 proof, so like keep your expectations in check for what it is. It's velvety like a dusty. Like the texture of the palate, it drinks like a dusty, not necessarily with how it tastes. There is a teeny bit of a sherried fruit, butterscotchy thing that you get from dusties on this, but not enough for you to confuse it with a dusty. But I really like this whiskey. I just can't imagine paying $1,000 for a bottle of this. The finish is surprisingly long for 90 proof. Really, really long, actually. There's a lot of like herbal spice that's hanging out on the palate. I really like this. I just don't want to pay $1,000 for it. What is Walker saying? 89 out of 100 for me. That's a big score for Walker. Big fan. A couple points better than Handy, but you're usually into higher proof. Walker, I might take this. Actually, I think I would definitely take this over Handy. The 24 Handy I like. The Handy is still not enough for me to ever really want to buy a bottle like over SRP. I came close this year because one thing that I think would be valuable moving forward is to have one bottle of every BTAC open here, even if it's not like a great year, but if it's a year that I'm just familiar enough with where every future BTAC sample I get, I can then compare it to the one that I have at home and just understand where those things are going to stack up to get a better read on it. So even though I would hate to spend $1,000 on a Saz 18, I'm considering picking one up just so I have a point of comparison for future years. Like I'm not gonna buy that Saz 18 and then crush it at home or send samples out. It's just gonna be like a study bottle for future stuff. Same thing with the Handy. Like I think I would probably pick up a 24 Handy as a study bottle. I love the profile because I love Michter's 10 Rye, and I think this is a darker, fruitier version of it. And it's got more age to it. I love this profile on this Saz. Man. I'll just keep drinking this. I gotta pour it back. Little grassiness on it, but it's a rye, so it makes more sense with the profile. Frankie says tax write-off. I gotta find a shop that's selling it. And if I'm gonna write it off, I gotta find a shop that's not secondary. Maybe I can see if Justin's House of Bourbon has any of them. Oh, they are coming out with a Saz 100 proofer, aren't they? I forgot. Rich says I'd buy 2.5 24 Handies over the Saz. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just a value issue on this one. Justin says picked up a 24 Handy and GTS, waiting for our baby to arrive. Congrats, man. That's going to be awesome. I mean, both of those I think are great examples of those whiskeys. So that'll be a great day. Besides the baby, that's also going to be great. The whiskey will be great too, though. Out of 142 people watching, 142 can get baby Saz, so maybe that's a better convo or question. Sure, but we can all also get Elijah Craig small batch. We're not talking about that though. I don't know if that's I don't know how to read into that comment. Maybe I'm just not reading the tone well, but I felt like I don't want to take that in a snarky way. But if that's meant to be snarky, then I would defend myself. Because we're tasting a lot of different things tonight. All right, what else, guys? We didn't taste the Dickle 20 year. So we got to taste this 20-year Dickle. Also, if you didn't mean that in any sort of way, then I apologize. I think Baby Saz is totally fine. You know what I've never had is a store pick. of Baby Saz. I've always wondered if the store picks are any good. Oh, more so just funny. Dude, it's so hard to read tone in text, like in the chat. Sometimes I'm wondering, like, is that person taking a steaming dump on me, or is it just me, you know? Give me an LOL next time, you know? All right. Another NBC 20-year coming, apparently, says Bobby H. Well, they've done 2 now, I think. So I've heard about these barrels on secondary, and I've heard that they are priced incredibly well. So you might see more of these popping up in the market. Like these higher proof 20-year Dickle products. And you might see them as low as like $130. Like that's how well these barrels are priced, from what I've heard. So these are like $275, and if these come from the same lots as some of the others that are on the market right now, then you know they're making pretty good money on these. But you don't ever expect to find 20-year bourbon for $130 a bottle, so I don't blame NBC if they did get them at that lower cost for marking that up. In this case, I'll give NBC a lot of crap for marking other things up. That's a different story. But these 20 years, I don't think anybody should be buying 20-year bourbon under $200. Like, that seems like you're leaving money on the table, you know? Because everybody needs to make money, and it is a business. Whew, that is some Dickle. Travis said, I wonder if the barrels were from Blue Note or Barrel Craft. I don't know. I'll probably end up finding out if... I could probably end up finding out, but I probably can't say that publicly if I do. Rich, I had a 19-year store pick of the 15-year Dickle bottling, and it was a nice whiskey in many ways, but so mineral. Yeah, this is very mineral. This is 126 proof, apparently a pretty short barrel. I mean, it's just Flintstone vitamins all the way. It's so hard to see past it, but this does have a creamy vanilla note. Rich brown sugar. Tons of leather. And a mixture of mint and citrus that just crawls up your nose. Almost like... Does an orange mojito exist? Like a mojito with some sort of orange liqueur or something like that? Like that's what that effervescence makes me think of. But that's an afterthought. The main thing here is all of that minerality and heavy leather, heavy oak, brown sugar. I like this more than I did last night. Still dry on the finish. Very dry on the finish. But now that I'm in deep a little bit tonight, you know, I've gone through a lot of whiskey. I am more forgiving of the mineral note on the palate. I think I said this last night too, actually, when I tasted it, that I liked the palate better than the nose, and that is true. I think the palate on this is much better than the nose. William, honest question, is NBC marking their stuff up that much more than others? Yes. I mean, for some of it, not for all of it. But if you see an 11-year rye from NBC that's like $180 to $200, which I feel like I've seen that before, 11-year MGP rye whiskey in the market, for people to make their normal, like full margin on those bottles, they can sell those at $115 to $125 a bottle and make their margin that they want. So when I see NBC charging 60 to, you know, 55 to 75 more dollars than that, that to me is like, you're marking that up. Yeah. Right, Travis. Yeah. I don't want to get into all that, you know. I don't want any more speculation, but yeah. And Yeah, River Roots today dropped from a high proof 126, it was 126 proof, but from the high proof lot that they just got in of 12-year MGP rise, $90 in their gift shop. So I don't want to hear, that from people that are defending $180 to $200 price points. If the whiskey is $180 to $200 good, then set your price point at that. But I've not had an NBC rye, at least from what I've tried, that has ever earned that price point over a different NDP that's sourcing similar barrels. That drives me nuts. Again, it's a business, perceived value, all sorts of stuff. But after tasting a lot of these barrels coming through River Roots, it's like River Roots, their pricing is amazing, all things considered. It depends on if the barrel has to go through a distributor to a state or if it goes directly to DC. All the pricing is different because of those factors, but I always feel like NBC is expensive on their high-end stuff. But the 20-year, I don't blame them if they did mark this up to get to $275. I actually don't blame them because that's a reasonable price for 20-year-old bourbon at this proof, 126, single barrel. Travis is right. The best values from NBC are the batch products. Like this bottle is, for me, the best NBC I've ever had, taking value into consideration and just the quality of the whiskey. This is outstanding. This was that Minick, number, what was this number? Was it number 2 of the year last year for Minick, or number 4? It was one of those. This bottle is incredibly good. It was number 2. I don't think it was the number 2 whiskey of last year, but I do think that's an incredible bottle at like whatever it was, $70. The bourbon was not good, in my opinion. But that rye, killer. Travis, I've already talked to him about it. Travis, there might already be a sample at River Roots tomorrow that I'm going to taste. Okay. Yeah, we've been talking about it, but before I tasted this one. Guys, by the way, I have a question. I got to ask the chat. Has anybody tried the 20-year Sealbox light whiskey? I'm not a light whiskey person, so I'm not a good person to ask about light whiskey. But has anybody tried the 20-year Sealbox light whiskey? I don't know if they've shipped those yet or if they've sold those yet, but I was curious if anybody had tried it, what they thought of that whiskey. Waiting for it to arrive. Okay. I wasn't sure if anybody else had gotten those yet. Still on the way. Okay. All right. Their bottles are definitely expensive, but it's a fun place to visit when in town. Met one of the owners. I'm sure the experience is great. You know what I mean? But I just think the pricing from my perspective has always been, how can I spend $180 on this rye or $200 on this rye? Yeah. So talking about Old Louisville and Dark Arts, I mean, those are, everybody, like every business's margin is different, their goal, but I think like knowing what those barrels typically cost, the 10-year Dark Arts or like the 10-year MGP bottles, Dark Arts and Old Louisville are on the absolute upper end of that spectrum, and I think they're doing it to try to separate themselves out as like a more of a boutique product, more of a premium product. That's the way that I'm reading it, because I know that those barrels, you can sell those bottles for $115. Like if you go direct to DC and you don't have to go through a distributor, you can sell those bottles for $115, $120, and you can make what you need to make, depending on what you've established as your percentage that you need to make. But I think those are on the higher end. We did a Dark Arts pick, and I was really worried about selling it at $150. My hang-up was the price. We sold it because of the name of Dark Arts, which was good. But I always hesitate to go pick one of those at a place for $150 when we can get it at River Roots, a place that is we're gonna get those for $120 or whatever, you know? But it's mostly, I think that some of these NDPs want themselves to be this premium thing, and I don't blame that. You know, if those people particularly are able to cherry pick those barrels, then I'm more forgiving of that, because if you've gone in and you've done that work to maybe single-handedly like pick out those barrels, then add a premium to that. Like for instance, the way that I feel about, I don't want this to sound any kind of way, but the way that I feel about some of the River Roots rye picks that we've done in particular, like the 2 ryes that are going to come out on April 11th that we've done, they're 130 and 129 proof ryes. They're 12 years old, and they are the best MGP ryes that I have ever tasted. And that's like not an exaggeration. I'm so shocked that we were able to get these barrels. Those bottles, in my opinion, are worth way more than $121, which is what we're going to sell them for. To me, those are $180 to $200 whiskeys. And if I tasted that whiskey and it was released by somebody else under a different label for that price point, and I tasted it, I would absolutely buy a bottle at that price. And I'd say, listen, on paper, the value doesn't make sense, but the whiskey, because it's a single barrel, is that good. You should buy it at this price point. So I understand like upcharging for certain things that are amazing, even if it doesn't make sense on paper. But, you know, if people are buying from the same lots and it's the same quality of whiskey, and other places are just trying to premiumize their products and their reputation, then I am going to pass them over more often than not and go to the places that get the same stuff at a cheaper price. Tom, is MGP still direct selling over what the brokers are? I know they were doing that for a while, and that would be a big difference. Yes, I mean, they did do that for a while. I don't know exactly. I heard from somebody that they had a contact there that was maybe like the prices were maybe getting lower for that stuff, but I'm not sure if that's the case. I wouldn't want to speak out of turn on that, but yeah, but I think like I just don't like seeing certain things upcharged that much. I guess is the moral of the story. Frankie, I need River Roots to make it further down the tiers. I know. And the ryes got bottled, and the ryes are shorter than I thought, and I'm freaking out. We only have 125 of one and 132 of the other. It makes sense, though. The whiskey's so good. All right, so I think we're gonna wrap up, guys. I think we've gotten through everything this evening. Oh, well, that can wait for a review. I didn't get to this Cathedral French Oak, but we can wait on that. You'll see that in a video. I'm gonna do a video of that with the Bomberger's PFG, and I'm probably gonna combine all of the Heaven Hill stuff into one video. That's my thought. Larceny, Elijah Craig, and the Heaven Hill 19 all in one video, just to be able to knock things out just a little quicker. You'll probably see that happen more now than it did before, because there's just too much whiskey to go through. Well, Richard, did you buy Year of the Rye? If you're talking about Year of the Rye, then I would tell you that you're not wrong, that's a divisive bottle. And that the ryes that I just picked from River Roots that are gonna drop April 11th, and then we have one more 12-year rye that's gonna drop in the early summer. Those are totally different. So if you're talking about Year of the Rye, then I hear you, and I picked that knowing that it was a completely different profile than what we've ever done. So if that's the case, I would not write off those ryes. That lot of ryes was a completely different lot from a completely different source that did not come directly from MGP like the other ones did. It came from a certain distillery that had those barrels, and it was a totally different thing. So yeah. It's okay. Yeah, you're the rye. So it has that earthiness that a lot of people don't like. I picked the best barrel, in my opinion, out of that lot, but it's definitely not my favorite profile. But I thought it was something unique and interesting, and I thought people might enjoy it more because it was unique, and I kind of miscalculated there. So there was no pressure for me to pick it. I just thought it was different, and maybe that would be a cool thing. But if I were you, though, if you do see, whether it's from me or from anybody else, like Matt Porter has one coming too. Matt Porter has 2 of the ryes coming, I think. One is from that older lot that you're talking about, the lower proof, that has been kind of divisive, but the people that love them really love them. But he also has one of the high proof ones coming, and Matt's pick of the high proof ryes is fucking amazing. It's so good. So we got one from that lot. Matt's got one from that lot. Some other people are going to have them too. So I wouldn't write off all of the higher age MGP ryes based on that, because that was a totally unique thing. All right, I'm out, guys. Cheers. Thank you for hanging out tonight. Got through a lot of good whiskey, and hope you had fun. Hit that like on your way out, and I'll see you soon. I don't know when the next stream is going to be. We might do one next week too. Nice. All right. We might have a stream next Thursday. We'll definitely have one April 10th, I think. So if it doesn't happen next week, it'll definitely be April 10th. April 17th, we have a barrel pick in Austin. It's still Austin. So maybe I'll take next week off, but we'll do like the 10th and the 24th or something. I'll let you know. Patreon members, I'm going to go get the info email out right after this stream and get the tasting notes up for the Circle City stuff in the spreadsheet as well. Cheers.